I don't like the phrase history repeats, but history certainly rhymes. And we've gone through 19 years of democratic erosion. There are more authoritarian regimes now than there were 20, 30 years ago. This end of history, I know Fukuyama didn't really say it like the way that we say it, but, end of history isn't the end of history. Liberal democracy has not come out as a hegemonic winner. I think there are a couple of rough years ahead. There is still hot conflict in Europe.
Yeah.
There is still hot conflict in Asia. There is still set to be some form of political conflict in the Americas. And, this is a point where things can get worse. I personally do not think there's going to be a world war, or if we are in a world war, we're currently in it. Because conflict doesn't look like what it looked in the 20th century.
Yeah.
I think, things are only going to get worse until all polarization and authoritarian regimes are only going to continue to proliferate until the great authoritarians of the 21st century have died or have gone. So, Xi Jinping, he's in his 70s. Realistically, you've got another 20 years of 10, 20 years of Xi Jinping. Putin, you've realistically got another 5, 15 years of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I mean,
Lukashenko stepping down in Belarus, but looks to be replaced by his son. Viktor Orban is still in power in Hungary. You've got Modi in India. So you have these different authoritarian leaders whose power looks to be entrenched, and they've got another 5, 10, 15, 20 years until that power collapses. So I think we're in a very similar situation to what we were in the 90s, or 90s and 80s, where you're looking at all these authoritarian leaders and they're only going to become more authoritarian until they pass away. And I think a lot of their legitimacy stems from who they are as a person, not their economic performance. It's ideology and them themselves. So when they go, I think then we can look towards the future, and we can look towards making sure everyone's lives are getting better. I mean, what's happening in the protests in Iran and Afghanistan actually, I think, are a positive, because they're showing that the people in that region are fed up of theocratic authoritarianism. They're fed up of that style of government, and that will only impact everyone else as it spreads.